I want to be in history books. I want my work to matter. That's what matters to me. I may not be your scholar. I may not be the politician. I may not be this, I may not be that, but my activism is in what God has blessed me with, which is my art. And I wanted my art to always be able to make a difference. I didn't know it was going to happen like this. Okay, I am the daughter of Jackie and all of her colors and creativity and characters. And if you know her, you know exactly why I say that.
Yeah.
I am an artist, just more in, not even just in the capacity of an actor, just in the capacity of life, you know. I am a Gemini. You either love us or you hate us.
I know all about the Geminis.
What I love about myself,
yeah,
I love my thirst for spiritual elevation.
Spiritual elevation.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's good. How has that changed for you over the years, especially as you climb higher in the city of angels that doesn't seem to be the most angelic city?
Interesting enough, I don't think that, I mean, maybe my career is a part of that, or see me out, maybe my journey for spiritual elevation has impacted my career, which I think is probably more what the deal is. And what I mean by that is, like, I got to a point where I cared more about learning about myself and my connection to God than I cared about learning about my career. You know what I mean? Like, I care about learning about my career, obviously, but like I realize, like, for me to exist and be happy, I can be the most successful person in the world and not happy. For me to exist and be happy, no matter what is next for me, I needed to have a strong, defined, clear connection with my source, which is God. So I think that has all become a part of this journey.
That's a beautiful way to be, because especially there's grounding there, and always being connected to something bigger than ourselves is ideal, because it's a lot. The world is a lot to take in. So that, I mean, how did you even, were you always raised to believe, and then you just brought it with you as you continued your journey as an adult?
No, it was the opposite. You know, I think that I started to go to church on my own when I was in high school. When I was a kid, like a kid, I would go to church with my grandmother. But then when I got into high school, I went to church on my own. When I graduated from Hampton University and I started to go into, like, becoming an adult and getting into the world itself, I started to find my own journey spiritually. And it didn't necessarily exist in a church. It existed in my work that I put towards my connection with God. It existed in my journey. It existed in my thirst for knowledge about what we are as humans, what we are as spirits, what we are as vessels, and what our purpose is, and how in alignment that is with why God has brought us here specifically. So it's probably started from how I started, but this part of my journey has a lot to do with just where I am right now, understanding that I am my happiest when I'm grounded, and I am my happiest when everything is on mute, and it's just me and my prayers and my meditation in the tribe that I have built, that I trust.
Amen. I love that. That's beautiful. Good for you too, to be able to have that type of home with you as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your history making. Of course, you don't take a role or even get into acting to be like, I'm gonna make history. But as a Black woman, that does happen a lot. And especially now we're in 2021 and you're still able to make history on television, which is bittersweet. It's bittersweet. What does it mean for you, especially because this role is something is so iconic, and to be able to step into that suit, how does that make you feel, knowing that you are shifting history?
It's the complete opposite, Daniel. I did strive to be an actress because I wanted to make history.
Oh yeah.
When I was younger, we had two types of history that we learned. We had the history that's taught to us, but then we always, especially in predominantly quote unquote minority areas, we have our real history. And first you're taught what everyone knows, which is the beautiful journey of Dr. Martin Luther King. But then I got taught the journeys that are happening outside of just his journey. And I fell in love with the artists that were a part of that journey. So I fell in love with the story with Nina Simone's world. I fell in love with Eartha Kitt. I fell in love with Billie Holiday. I fell in love with these artists who, by any means necessary, made sure that their art represented their activism.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this when I was a child. I feel like I might have been in like 7th or 8th grade, and I was reading something, and I think I was specifically at the time reading about Eartha Kitt, and I said, "Oh man, I really, really, I want to be in history books. I want my work to matter. That's what matters to me. I may not be your scholar. I may not be the politician. I may not be this. I may not be that. But my activism is in what God has blessed me with, which is my art. And I wanted my art to always be able to make a difference. I didn't know it was going to happen like this. That's the only part I didn't know. But who knows how things are going to happen. Yeah. But I knew that I wanted I wanted to impact. I wanted to do something that made a difference, And so, of course, my focus is on my craft, and my focus is on giving the best that I can possibly give. I don't carry the weight on my shoulder of this is history, you know what I mean? Because then it doesn't serve any justice towards Ryan, it doesn't serve any justice towards Batwoman. But the beautiful part of those two things aligning themselves is it's a blessing,
Oh yeah. Now that's how you know it's divine. When you say it, you make it plain, and then it becomes. So I mean, how humbling is that to be in this place, to be in the history books now? That's crazy.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, it's bittersweet. But it's okay because the shift has to start somewhere. And it's not just me. I'm not the beginning of the shift. I mean, Chadwick Boseman is the reason why this opportunity has even allowed itself to happen, because we showed that there was a demand for this type of, representation in sci-fi and in the superhero world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just important that we continue to support this journey and all of the other Black artists that are in these roles, so that we can then also start to create more,
right?
Yeah. and have the support of these major companies supporting these creations, because they know that there is a demand for these roles,
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I still remember Black Panther and all the excitement around that, and that still exists now. That excitement and just the eagerness to be able to be seen as a superhero is like, I never even thought about it growing up. I honestly didn't. I never really thought that. And even I remember how impactful it was seeing Brandy as Cinderella, Whitney Houston as a fairy godmother, right? Like, how could you remember like that feeling when we saw that? And I didn't even know before to ask for it, to also be a princess.
And there's this weird space where it's like, people will say, why not create our own? Yeah, let's create our own. But does it mean that we can't fight for having representation in the worlds that have already been created that we love? I'm not going to all of a sudden just stop loving Batman because there hasn't been a Black person playing that role. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to just turn off. I'm 33 years old. I was raised for 33 years watching Batman, and I was a huge fan.
Right.
So why can't we fight for some representation in the worlds that we're already embedded in? But also let's make sure we uplift shows that are original and authentic to our people, like Black Lightning and their new spinoff Painkiller and so forth. Like, Let's make sure that we still support those as well. But why not also lift the worlds that have already existed, that our people are coming through and saying, hey, I love this show.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
I love it.
Cinderella is the best example ever. That was one of my, I don't even know any other version at this point because it came out when I was so young.
Yeah. It was definitely an impactful piece.
I will sing Impossible. Impossible. You remember?
Girl, because I'm from North Carolina, so I'd be like, for a plain country bumpkin.
Yes, and the prince is joined in marriage.
Wow,
yes,
it is possible.
Yes.
You are, it's just, I'm excited to even be here with you because you are representing of so much impossibility. And to see you shine in this role, it's been such a really dope experience. And I could only imagine for you what that feels like, because it's like such a responsibility too. But I want to know, because you are so talented and you've gotten this role and have shown us what you could do, we get it. But what do you think helped you get it? What was in your audition sauce that you felt?
Audition sauce. I think
you put in there.
I think being forced to be at home because we were in the middle of the pandemic, for me, gave me a bit of a comfort zone when it came to auditioning, to be honest, because I didn't have this nervousness of walking into a foreign room and seeing people I had never seen before and then showing them my soul. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I was in my room. My homegirl was my reader. You know what I mean? So
right.
I was able to show them truly everything I had, and my fear didn't impede it, didn't try to tear me apart, you know? So then when I got the role and it was time to start playing, it was about remembering you got this based off of being your most fearless self. So you have to carry that throughout this season, because that's why you were chosen, you know? And so now I feel very confident in playing and having fun. But in the beginning, like the first 2 episodes, I was nervous as heck. Like,
well, talk about it, Javicia, because a lot of people deal with the imposter syndrome, even though I'm like, I talk to myself about it too, because I'm like, girl, well, you wouldn't have got this if you didn't deserve this, or if you didn't, you know, if you weren't supposed to have this, but it still comes up. So
I'll tell you the way to deal with it. We're all imposters. No one knows what they're doing.
Nobody knows.
Everyone's terrified. Everyone's scared. The only thing that separates you from the person that might be in their 22nd episode of this series is the fact that they are more comfortable with the crew. They're more comfortable with the cameras and everything. But as far as ability, you have it in you from episode 1 all the way up to episode 22. It's just about letting go of the comparison, letting go of feeling the need to feel something, fill some shoes that don't really exist. You know, your shoes are the ones that exist. And those are the ones that are going to pave the way for not only yourself, but the ones that come after you. So my biggest thing about the whole imposter syndrome is that we're all imposters. That's my job, is to be an imposter. It's just to be an authentic imposter. You know what I mean? Like, that's the journey. You know, fear is such a waste of time. You'll spend a lot of energy and a lot of time giving fear attention.
Yeah, no, I literally just posted the other day. I look at fear because I'm on a walk with God. And so in my mind, that can't exist if I'm on that walk, right? If I'm on this, if I'm on this walk, it's an insult to even be afraid. So I'm like, okay, it's an insult to be afraid. So if I'm gonna experience it, if it's gonna come at me, I'm gonna switch it from being a fear, being afraid. It's new. Like you said, the other people, they're comfortable. It's new. It's uncomfortable.
But why are they comfortable? They're comfortable because we have a society that has created comfort for them since they've existed. Right. So now, as minorities, as they call us, which I don't really believe in, but Now we're coming in and we're paving our way. So
Right.
if there's nothing else that my role does, at least it can give comfort for another artist to come in
I love
and
that.
see and know that this has been done. So now they can come into it a lot more fearlessly than I started it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all that matters to me. Sometimes it's just we get in our heads about things that don't really matter, that we don't have any control over. So let's just get to the nitty gritty, the basics, which is if this does nothing else, allow it to give comfort for another artist to be able to be bigger, better, stronger, more
Yeah.
expansive,
Love it.
more impactful.
Right. Now, with you being this hero, when is a time in your life that you feel like you've had to be heroic or show up for yourself as a hero? Because I know, like, we Black women, we feel like we always have to count on ourselves, but I don't want that to seem negative. I would like to hear a time of you counting on yourself and you had to be your own hero.
I mean, even in this role, it's constantly day to day grabbing my own hand and saying, you got this. It's constantly day to day, like separating myself from, I'm not offended by things because I know a lot of hate comes from hurt. You know what I mean? Hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And when, I'm in a world right now where this is not a very Black world when we're talking about the superhero genre.
Right.
And when we're talking about specifically this role, definitely not a very Black world.
No.
And so I am my own superhero in this because I have to constantly remind myself. I have a lot of empathy. I've seen a lot, and I'm so connected to my childhood, that I understand why people operate the way they operate. And a lot of it is based off of their own pain, their own trauma, their own hurt, people telling them they weren't enough, people telling them you don't look this way, so you can't do this. You're not this tall, this height, this weight, this gender, this race, so you don't qualify for this job, for this opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so they then inflict that same trauma on other people. And that's okay, because I understand that that's their journey. And everyone is in different parts of their journey, but more than anything, everyone's in different parts of their healing process. I think that God gave me this role at a time where my work supports me being able to take everything that comes with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
My personal work, my spiritual work supports me to be able to take this platform and truly push past any negativity so that there can be a comfort, a representation, a shift, a change, because that's the point of it.
Yeah.
We're here not for ourselves. We all have purposes not for ourselves. Our purpose is connected to someone else's purpose. So I have to do what I'm supposed to do. I have to walk in my purpose because it's connected to someone else who's going to do something even greater than me. I have to. So I see that stuff and I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry that whatever has happened in your life has led you to feel the need to talk down, to say negative things.
Right.
I'm so sorry that has happened to you. And I pray for the best for you, but I got to keep going. I got to grab my own hand and I got to keep going, because this is just the beginning. This is literally, for me, just the beginning.
Girl, I got to wrap. That was so good. I just got the note that we have to wrap it up, but I appreciate your sharing from such a humble and beautiful spiritual place, because it's not easy to walk this walk, and you are doing it with so much grace, and I'm loving seeing your journey. Congratulations. You're gonna keep making history busted wide open, girl.
Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate your time so much. Thank you.
Of course. Congratulations in advance for everything that you got going.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Real quick with that real with that body wanna